Good morning. The world has taken a dramatic turn in the last few days and weeks, with further steps towards your freedom being taken away. Canada has increased its capital gains tax up to 66%. We'll dive into the sinister plan to steal your economic freedom. Jamie Dimon, go figure, he has bought Bitcoin through JP Morgan. Australian budget, it's a little bit of a joke. They look like they want to settle it by the end of the year. Christine Lagarde drops the most frightening, sinister video that I've seen yet on digital currencies, and not the good kind. And GameStop, it got holded multiple times in the last 24 hours as Roaring Kitty comes back. This is your home, the Bitcoin news, with the fast facts. Diving straight over to the Bank of Canada, they are warning citizens, probably a good idea to take heed. Let's get it.
Some indicators of financial stress have risen. At the same time, the valuations of some financial assets appear to have become stretched. This could increase the risk of a sharp correction that could generate system-wide stress. The recent rise in the use of leverage in non-bank financial institutions could amplify the effects of such a correction.
No kidding. So the whole world is on this fiat Ponzi leverage scheme that's been going on. Before we dive into what is happening in Canada, Trudeau actually said something good, spat it out. So let's play this before we dive into the sinister side of this capital gains tax.
Buy Bitcoin, opt out of inflation.
One more time.
Buy Bitcoin, opt out of inflation.
100%. He got something right. Well done. So diving over to Canada, what is happening? Shout out to everyone that is watching live, watching the replay. If you can smash the like button, greatly appreciated. It is good to be back in the studio. Now, Canada, they increased their capital gains tax to 66%. The governments are out of control. Prepare yourself. Canadians now have to pay 66% capital gains tax on all their profits over $250,000. People think, $250,000, it's okay. That's no drama. Let the rich pay their fair share. It's what they always say. Let the rich pay their fair share. What a load of codswallop, because this is not just for the rich, and we're going to dive into it. But before we do, let's break it down, because 66% on your capital gains is not quite true. Crypto's mind is saying, read the tax proposal by the federal government. We'll read a couple of these points here that he's laid out, and then we'll dive into an article. The Canada federal budget proposed to increase capital gains inclusion rate from 50 to 66.7% effective the 25th of June. The 66.7 is not the tax rate, it is the inclusion rate. So 2024 federal budget proposed to increase the capital gains inclusion rate for individuals, trusts and corporations, specifically 66.7% of capital gains realised on or after June 25 would generally be included in income for tax purposes. This is up from 50% to provide some relief. The budget proposed that capital gains up to $250,000 realised by an individual, either directly or indirectly through a trust or partnership, will remain subject to the 50% inclusion rate each year. For example, an individual subject to the top marginal tax rate can anticipate about an 8 to 9% increase in taxes and capital gains in excess of $250,000 realised on or after June 25, 2024. This is the totalitarian footstep towards the dystopian regime. Some people in Canada would probably argue, as well as Australia and the EU, that dystopian regime is already here. But for corporations and trusts, the tax rate increase is immediate on the first dollar of gains. No option. Now, before we dive into it a little bit further, this is the most sinister video I've seen on CBDCs yet. It is full of lies, misinformation, misdirection. They are programming people. They are prepping people to get used to the idea of CBDCs, and they are for your own good. They don't want you to eat the bugs, of course.
The digital euro is on the move.
Uh-oh.
Yesterday, the Governing Council of the ECB approved the opening of the preparation phase. It will be a journey, and we will walk the journey together with the legislator. All European institutions will be involved to make sure that Europe is equipped with the currency of the future. Cash is here to stay.
That's not their agenda. They're not keeping cash. Whatever they say, they are bringing in CBDCs. Even if cash stays around for a little while, we'll play the rest of the video. There's 30 more seconds. Even if cash stays around for a little while, they will get rid of it once they bring in their CBDCs. We've seen it throughout history over and over again. Anyway, Christine?
You will have all options.
Tell
Cash
nothing to be happy.
and digital cash.
Yeah, right.
So what does it mean for you?
Buy Bitcoin?
For consumers, it would be free and easy to use everywhere in the euro area. All of that, of course, is subject to the legislative process. Cash or digital, the choice will be yours. Your euro, your choice.
Oh my God, does that not send shivers up your spine? That is definitely the most dystopian video I have seen yet by Christine Lagarde. They may say they want to keep cash. They don't want to keep cash because with CBDCs, they have 100% control. Their agenda is for you to own nothing and be happy. We'll dive into Bill Gates in a second, but let's unpack this capital gains tax a little bit and be a little bit fair to the Trudeau government. If you can smash the like button, greatly appreciated. We have one video that I want to play of Bill Gates shortly. If that video is missing from this, I'll repost it. I'm pretty sure it has the potential of getting taken down. They don't like the truth being spread. Anyway, the increasing capital gains tax inclusion rate, think first, maybe, act later. So the government's decision in the 2024 federal budget to increase the portion of capital gains that are included in income from 50% to 66 and 2/3% effective June 25-24 start, and then for natural persons, 2/3 of capital gains realised each year above 250K will be included in income. Now take note, any favourably taxed stock options benefit realised will reduce the $250,000 limit. For corporations and trusts, the 2/3 inclusion rate will apply to all cap gains realised on or after June 25. For an Ontario resident subject to tax at the highest marginal rate, the change in inclusion rate represents an increase in the effective tax rate on capital gains from roughly 26.8% to 35.7%. That's nearly 10%. They're just taking away. At the same time, they're getting ready to print more money, further deteriorating your purchasing power. So the result is to leave Canada with one of the largest marginal capital gains tax rates in the world. Australia's either worse or not far behind. This is coming to a Western country near you, where you live. Depending on where you are in the world is getting very dystopian. We are, as a majority on the planet, especially in the Western Hemisphere, tax more than the serfs used to. With the CBDCs that are coming out, Christine Lagarde's dystopian regime, they want you to be a little slave. There's a couple of ways to opt out. We'll dive into the hope side of things. It's not all lost, and I don't feel fair. I'm sorry this has taken a little bit of a dark turn, but better to wake up to what is happening in Canada, and we'll dive into Australia with the federal budget as well. Now, the government has consciously chosen this effective date to give taxpayers the opportunity, if not actively encourage them, to realise cap gains before that date. This is quite unusual. Most such amendments are made effective on the date they are announced so as to prevent action being taken to sidestep the tax increase. The government is inviting taxpayers to realise gains in the next couple of months that might otherwise be realised later, and in doing pay tax sooner, but potentially at a lower rate. Now, they want you to give up your hard assets. That doesn't make any sense to me. So, change of law, risk, part one. We're just going to cover a couple of things here. The government has tried very hard to frame this move as an issue of fairness, claiming that only 0.13% of Canadians with an average income of $1.4 million are expected to pay more personal income tax on their cap gains in any given year. Various constituencies, from doctors to the tech sector to entrepreneurs, to the business sector generally, to owners of cottages or investment properties, have all reacted to this change with varying degrees of anger. Judging by the blowback report in the media so far, the government is not winning the battle to frame the narrative on this issue as simply asking the wealthiest Canadians to pay their fair share. Before accelerating the realisation of capital gains before June 25, taxpayers should consider the possibility the government may retreat from this proposal either wholly or partially. That's something to keep in mind. If they retreat, it's going to be before they bring it in. If they bring this into law, it's just a step into more and more control. When a government brings out laws, they're very happy to bring out as many laws as they can to control the general population. Very rarely do they ever take these laws away once implemented. Now, for example, there are various changes the government could make that would eliminate some of the collateral damage as the PBO puts in better align with its narrative that only the very wealthy will be impacted, such as exempting personal use property that is not listed personal property, such as cottages already subject to special treatment as capital losses on such property are not recognised, perhaps up to a specific dollar limit. Now, this is the dystopian part, extending the $250,000 annual 50% inclusion rate allowance to all taxpayers, not just natural persons, so as to take most small corporations out of scope, or expanding the scope or relieving provisions directed at entrepreneurs such as the seldom used eligible small business corporation rollover to facilitate reinvestment of profits in high risk startup ventures. Anyone that's got a little bit of money left, we see PJ Canada, Canadians have no money left to buy Bitcoin. For anyone that does, they are trying to take that off you as the Western world is failing. And while they're actively, like Trudeau, that video, this was in jest here,
Buy Bitcoin.
he truly doesn't believe you should buy Bitcoin. It's probably the smartest decision, the best thing that came out of his mouth. Actively discouraging people from holding self-custody, which is a must. But the Bank of Montreal disclosed the spot Bitcoin ETF holdings in the new SEC filing. We're going to dive into JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon as well, what they have done. Couple of things here. Shout out to Ionic drums coming soon to a first world country near you. People like Sean have been covering this topic daily. I suggested everyone take a deeper look at what's happening in Australia. These guys will be our boots on the ground at CBDC Ground Zero. Stay strong. Now, Australia is also, as well as EU, moving towards CBDCs at a very rapid rate. If we dive into this here, central bank digital currencies has warned citizens that they risk losing all of their money if they refuse. One of Australia's biggest banks, Macquarie Bank, told customers last week that it will completely eliminate cash this year, and if customers refuse to use CBDCs, they will own nothing and be happy. In case you missed it, we're phasing out our cash and check services for all products. To prepare for this change, you'll need to start transacting digitally. A safe, quick, and more convenient way to bank. We're removing our cash and check facilities in a phased approach. Daily Hodl reports the bank says customers will no longer be able to access the list of over-the-counter services at Macquarie's physical locations, nor deposit or collect checks or order new checkbooks. Once the changes are rolled out, Macquarie customers will only be able to withdraw paper money from their account using ATMs owned by rival banks, with withdrawals capped at $2,000 per day. Capital control here in Australia. That's your freedom being taken away. $2,000, a lot of people are going to be like, hey, who needs to take out $2,000? There's plenty of reasons. If there's a bank run and you don't understand Bitcoin yet and you're not saving in Bitcoin, $2,000 is a very small amount of money to be able to live off. And as they remove cash more and more, we're screwed. Australia's biggest bank bans cash, force customers to adopt CBDCs or lose everything. It's happening, and it's pretty dystopian, but there is hope. There is Bitcoin. This is Tony, the Bitcoin Ways, referring back to what's happening in Canada. If you're working in Canada, you're officially working for free now. Pack your bags and jump on a plane. There are plenty of good options. Book a free call with the Bitcoin Way. So this is today's sponsor. Really quickly, these guys are the best in the business, the best in Bitcoin. We'll get Tony on in a couple of days, maybe early next week as well, to dive into protecting your stack. They can help you set up an air-gapped wallet, run a node, multi-sig, inheritance plan. And if you need KYC free Satoshis, reach out to the Bitcoin Way. The first 30 minutes is free. Safety in the Moose, he's a legend. He also endorses the Bitcoin way. The Bitcoin way is a service I have always wanted. Everyone that's used them has benefited greatly. They've helped me out with my stack as well and protecting my computer, knowing that I can sleep easy at night. So jumping into the numbers, we are at block height 843,350. It is TikTok next block, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I get excited about. Roughly every 10 minutes at the moment, 9 minutes and 46 seconds, we get a new block. Every 4 years, we get a halving. It really slows us down. Instead of seconds and minutes, we've got 10-minute blocks and a 4-year cycles, 210,000 blocks per cycle. The last block reward, 3.2955. The fees have come down a bit. 0.1705 Bitcoin, 5.17% made up the subsidy and fees. Now, hash rate keeps going up. 83.15 terahashes a block. Well, the hash rate, here we go. 592.6 exahashes. That's insane. Sorry, that's the difficulty adjustment there. TikTok next block, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin keeps working. Bitcoin is number go up. It is that freedom technology. Let's check out what it is doing on the chart. We have had a little bit of a green day. You can see it there in the background. Smash the buy button. Whether it's green, whether it's red, whether it's up, whether it's down, whether it's sideways. We can see what's happening with CBDCs, digital IDs, capital controls on the cash, capital gains tax. Opt out of the fiat slave system. It makes absolutely no sense to be there. And I was thinking, I went away for 2 weeks. I've come back a little bit under the weather, if you can hear it a little bit nasally. It is what it is. But I was standing there at the top of the mountain with these giant, huge ash gums, or that's not the right word. Anyway, these giant trees on the top of a mountain, and I posted a photo. There's all these stars are standing, and I had a conversation with the universe, because Bitcoin, this is a little bit esoteric, but I've got a real good point. Bitcoin's align 100% truth. When we align ourselves with truth, we align ourselves with nature, the great outdoors. We're going to dive into what Bill Gates is doing in regards to cloud seed, and they've also got their agenda, CBDCs, digital IDs, the vaccines. Like, everything that this guy does is absolutely dystopian. But when we move away from that fiat system, when we come back to truth, I was having this conversation and I was thinking, what's the message? And it's just tithe 10%. All the religious texts say it is to tithe 10%. But tithe it to Bitcoin, to the wallet of, not the app, the wallet of Satoshi, but to the bank of Satoshi. Every week, whenever you get paid, if you're still living in this fiat system, just tithe 10%. It's no risk. You're saving. You're aligned with truth, and your life's going to continue to get better. And it's not a hard message to push. Bitcoin is hope. It is freedom. And 10% a day, a week, whenever you get paid, just to put it aside, you're not even gonna miss it. And long term, you're going to be happy as Larry that you made the switch. So 62,912. Let's just make sure this is correct. We'll dive into GameStop as well. It's been halted a couple of times, but a high 63,339 and a low of 60,776. Up, down, and sideways. It's pretty much been range bound for the last 7 days as well. Zoom out a little bit, that sideways action. 1 month it's been sideways as well. 3 months we're starting to move back up, and 1 year we're up dramatically. But this sideways action that we've had for a whole month, that means something needs to happen sooner rather than later. Maybe we get another 3 or 4 weeks of this. Maybe we don't. When Bitcoin moves, it's going to start to move dramatically. Obviously, it needs to get back over 64,000, move and push past 70,000. If we can get above 74,000, 80K is in play pretty quick. When's that happen? Who knows? You've got cheap Satoshis at the moment. I'd make the most of it. Actually, this is one thing that we missed here. Satoshis, 1,592 sats per US dollar. More important to be able to stack now than ever before, and it's a really good deal, and the market cap's only at 1.24 trillion. Okay, so let's dive into Jamie Dimon. I call him Jamie Demon because the guy's so sinister. He's been lying, misleading individuals, investors, the general public, the populace at large for a very, very long time. It's unfortunate and a lot of speculation that Jamie Demon's been buying personally. But people like these bankers, they're going to hold it in trust funds, so it's never in their name. And they're going to be like, no, I don't own Bitcoin, because they don't. It's in a trust. It's not connected to them. That's a little bit of speculation. But let's see how much they FUD it and then what they do. My favorite politician here. Hello, Miss Warren.
I've always been deeply opposed to crypto, Bitcoin, et cetera. You pointed out the only true use case for it is criminals, drug traffickers, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, and that is a use case because it is somewhat anonymous, not fully, and because you can move money instantaneously, and because it doesn't go through, as you mentioned, all these systems have built up over many years, know your customers, sanctions, OFAC, they can get bypass all of that. If I was the government, I'd close it down.
He'd close it down, yet he will buy it. We've got a little bit more from Mr. Demon himself.
Crypto.
If you mean crypto like Bitcoin, I've always said it's a fraud.
No hope for it.
Well, if they think they're a currency, there's no hope for it. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a public, decentralized Ponzi.
So JP Morgan is now investing in Ponzi schemes. Go figure. He is investing, with his words, into a technology that allows for circumvention of the law. We need to remember, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin is not private. There are ways to reach out to the Bitcoin way if you want to obfuscate. If that's what you want to do, obviously follow the law. Let's put a disclaimer in there. But tax evasion, money laundering, everything else that goes along with it. Now they're buying Bitcoin, and that's the information they put out. What's that go to say about Jamie Dimon himself and the bank at large? America's largest bank, JP Morgan Chase, discloses spot Bitcoin ETF holdings in a new SEC filing. It's about $1 million worth, or just under. It's about 786 when I checked the other day. After all that FUD, all that nonsense, saying don't buy it, stay away, and then they start buying it. Yes, it's in the ETF. Buy real Bitcoin. Protect yourself from their regime. I've got probably more appropriate words, but maybe not so appropriate for YouTube here. Just opt out. Hold in self-custody. Make sure your seed is on steel. And then read the books, read the bugs. I just want to dive into the second sponsor today. I've been bringing up Bitcoin evangelism for a really long time. I'm a huge advocate of read the books or eat the bugs. Just number one, buy Bitcoin. Like, it's the greatest decision that you'll ever make in your life. But soon after that, start studying it as fast as possible. Bitcoin Evangelism was Brian Demon's first book. His second book, Parallel, is absolutely amazing. It's a good second or third book for anyone that is in Bitcoin and has read like the foundation of Bitcoin. You understand it. And then the point of Bitcoin, starting a circular economy and actually removing ourselves from this dystopian fiat regime that is happening, because it's only going to get worse. Like, we're seeing these things now, CBDCs, digital IDs, like the 5G networks everywhere. Everyone's got a GPS in their phone. Is this little tinfoil hat? Sure, whatever. That's fine. But you've got an option now. You've got this time in history to be able to do something about it. So buy, stack, and chill. And chill includes reading the books. Anyway, I've put a link below. Diving over to Australia. It's really... it's crazy. We're with a whole lot of government officials in Victoria. I can't dive into it as the craziest thing. And they're like, we're broke. I'm like, what do you mean you're broke? Like, the Australian government, unlike the US, the Reserve Bank of Australia is owned by the Commonwealth of Australia. It's not a private institution, but the state of Victoria is still borrowing money and they're totally broke, which is pretty interesting. And then we have these things come out. And when they say they're broke, they've still got access to to a whole lot of funds. Anyway, if Treasurer Jim Chalmers declares it, then the economy must abide. That's the rules. We're all safe thanks to Jim's declaration. Now, 9 News Australia, the Treasurer has declared that things will get easier ahead of Tuesday night's federal budget, with fresh funding details revealed to help with the long-running cost of living crisis. They're not going to slow down immigration. Houses are not going to be built any quicker. Inflation is still here. They are going to start ramping up the money printer again. More lies, but we'll give them 2 minutes and 23 seconds to discuss what they are programming people with. There's no fact here. Anyway, we'll hand it over from the man at the top.
The Treasurer has declared things will get easier ahead of Tuesday night's federal budget, with fresh funding details revealed to help with the long-running cost of living crisis. And while Jim Chalmers is set to deliver a surplus, he's acknowledged struggling Australians still need more help.
On Mother's Day morning, the words families everywhere were hoping for.
Well, the budget will make things a little bit easier for people, whether it's a tax cut or other cost of living help.
That will include assistance for pensioners and Australians on job seeker payments, electricity bill relief and an $8.5 billion health spend, including $227 million for 29 new urgent care clinics.
Importantly, free of charge, all fully bulk billed, and taking real pressure off our crowded hospital emergency department.
I'm actually all for that. 100%. I live in a country where we pay a lot of tax. They should provide free healthcare services for anyone with the amount of tax we pay. So with that, I'm all good on that one point.
The budget will deliver a surplus led by resource prices and lower unemployment, meaning more Australians working and paying tax. The first back-to-back budgets in the black since Peter Costello 16 years ago.
The test for the budget, and the most important one, is that it's got to bring down Labor's homegrown inflation.
So we're making progress in the fight against inflation, but we know it's not mission accomplished because people are still doing it tough.
The Reserve Bank will give the ultimate verdict by raising or lowering interest rates. Expected jumps in the wages of childcare and aged care workers will hit the bottom line, with the cost of adding super payments to paid parental leave revealed at $600 million a year.
Women who are taking time out to care for children would lose that super and their earnings, and we know over the long term that's going to hit them and hit their superannuation savings.
Hold up. I have to interject here. The government has a plan to be able to take people's super. You can set up a self-managed super fund if you are in Australia. Definitely reach out to the Bitcoin Way. They may be able to help there. Otherwise, reach out to me on X and I can lead you in the right direction for people to connect with. It's not hard to set up a self-managed super fund. You can take control of your superannuation money. This is not financial advice, but you can use it to buy Bitcoin and take it into self-custody. It's what I've done with my superannuation. Obviously, it's increased a whole lot more and it takes it out of their hands. They do want to use that $3.7 trillion there for government military spending. They are already seeding, whether they use it for that or something else. They are eyeing this pot of money, currency, and sooner rather than later, I dare say, they're going to confiscate it for their own good as things get more and more out of control. Maybe that doesn't happen, but why not prepare? Why not have like 50-50 or 60-40 between self-managed super and a superannuation fund if you're not willing to take 100% self-responsibility? There are options to be able to protect the downside of the dystopian nightmare that is happening in many places around the world. And when you're on Bitcoin and you can use your super or just income to be able to buy more Bitcoin, every time you do that, I feel like I just get more and more hope within me. And I'm sure you'd experience that as well. So definitely take it seriously. But anyway, the more that employees are made to pay into super, the more the government hypothetically can take at a later date.
The budget must deliver detail on the government's signature Future Made in Australia policy. It will guide decision-making to the election and beyond.
We do need private sector-led investment right now. We don't need government to do the investment, we need the private sector.
Tonight, the budget is printed, packed and in Parliament House. Australian households, though, will have to wait just a little longer. Charles Crouch.
How interesting. We'll keep you up to date with that throughout the week as more and more information gets disseminated from the budget being released tonight. I see some really good comments. We will dive into the comments in a second. Brian Deman, he's the author of Parallel Bitcoin Evangelism. Read the books or eat the bugs. I'm truly serious. Please just read the Bitcoin books. The greatest and brightest minds have taken their time to channel their energy, their thought power very clear and concise into the books. But this is a fun little tip. Worried about spending Satoshis but still want to participate in the parallel Bitcoin economy. This is gold. Next time you go out to lunch with a friend, offer to pay the whole bill in fiat and then have your friend reimburse you for their half in Satoshis. Sats earned are much more easily later spent. 100% agree with that. Have like a hardcore savings and then just the cash that you'd spend. Load it onto Aqua Wallet or Wallet of Satoshi if you're here in Australia. I did that in Melbourne. It's absolutely epic. It's just so easy to be able to use. I'm not talking about touching your cold stack. Buy, stack and chill and hold that thing forever. Lock that bag down. But have a little bit of fun and participate. And how cool is that? Swapping inferior currency for the world's hardest money for something you're going to do anyway. That's pretty epic. Well done, Brian Deman. Now, US, excuse me, my apologies. I could not breathe yesterday. US senators said Biden's Department of Justice is threatening to criminalize Bitcoin software development in America and sends them a letter to reverse course. Ron Wyden and Cynthia Alumnus, I will just repost it for everyone. Do a little bit of your own research. There is a bit of pushback there and there is hope yet, and the fight is not lost and truth will always prevail. We say that we're at the then they fight you stage. After reading a book, a Bitcoin book over the holidays, and I'll bring the author on shortly as well, so I won't dive into it, but really reflecting, instead of focusing on the then they fight you, like Brian Deman saying, let's just build the parallel Bitcoin economy and have Bitcoin ready there for when people are ready to jump ship, or the ship just burns down, they have zero choice, because that's where I see things going. And whether it takes one day, like, to totally crumble, because it could, or it takes another 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Fiat's guaranteed to go to zero, especially against Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin is infinity divided by 21 million. Now, read the books or eat the bugs. I keep saying it over and over again. The agenda of this gentleman here is for you to eat the bugs. Man, there's some good comments. We'll dive into it shortly. If you can do us a favor, if you haven't already, hit subscribe if we vibe and just smash the like button or share the video. It means a lot. It does get the Bitcoin signal out there. We are live 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, 5:35 a.m. Really late night coming back. Anyway, back to regular programming. Let's Bill Gates. Well,
Bill Gates is backing the first high-altitude experiment of one radical climate change solution, creating a massive chemical cloud that could cool the Earth.
Just really quickly, I'm going to try and interrupt this video a couple of times because it's pretty likely to be able to get taken down. So I apologize. It's only a minute, but probably about every 20 seconds, I'll just stop it for about 3 seconds.
It's called solar geoengineering, and it's highly controversial.
How long will it be that countries keep experiencing these climate impacts before someone gets desperate and says, hey, we need to cool the planet with solar geoengineering?
It would look something like this. Thousands of planes would fly very high and use nozzles to inject millions of tons of light-reflecting particles into the stratosphere. It would create a thin chemical cloud of those particles around the whole planet, blocking some sunlight from reaching the surface. It would mimic a giant volcanic eruption, which we know cools the Earth, but it also comes with significant risks and uncertainties.
Things like mass famine, mass flooding, drought.
It sort of sounds like what's happening right now. We've got a lot of cloud seeding where I live as well. Not a conspiracy. We live very close to an international army base, Air Force base, training ground, very secret, very restricted. Their restricted area on the flight maps are huge. You cannot get anywhere near it. And the Great Barrier Reef, we'll dive into it because this may not be so good, and these famines, droughts, floods, they're already happening, and they say they're looking at doing this. They're already doing it, ladies and gentlemen. Now people are starting to wake up. They need to come out with they can't hide it. They can't hide the truth for whatever occult reasons.
Of kinds that will affect very large populations.
It could weaken monsoons in India, China, and Africa enough to affect crops. It could eradicate blue sky.
You start increasing the amount of...
Get rid of the sun, and then nobody's got any vitamin D. Like, that's the most sinister. Being away for 2 weeks and really rugged up the whole time. It was quite cold, especially the start of the trip was quite cold, and there was a bit of sunshine, and there's also cloud seeding happening as well. And I just missed the sun so much. And then the last place, there was no cloud seeding, but there was no sun. And it really affects you. And it changes. They want to do this for the global population who are already vitamin D deficient. I think that's one of the most sinister things. No blue skies.
Diffuse light, and you have less direct light, which is the same thing as saying it looks hazy and white.
Bill Gates.
So look up. What are you watching? Sky News, or are you watching the sky, as Daniel Batten put out in a X post yesterday? I think somebody asked the Great Barrier Reef, how's that doing? I went out there and I put out a video, and people like, it's all dead. And I'm like, yeah, like that's one little section. And the reef around here, we're at the tail end of the Great Barrier Reef. Some areas are better than others, but over summer, our water's fairly murky, so I haven't been able to get out and see the areas that used to be pristine last year. We've had a lot of whatever they're spraying in the sky, whether it's the same cloud seeding or something different, or it's just contrails. I don't think so. And then all this funny stuff has been washing up on the beach. And noticeably more parts of the reef are dying. Is it connected? Is it not? I'm not sure. The Great Barrier Reef is the world's seafood basket, basically. And a lot of the world's beef is grown here in Australia as well. And there's been a lot of droughts, a lot of floods. Are they connected? Are they not? I'm not sure. I don't know, but maybe there is something there. Now, in brighter news, this is how a country gets better. El Salvador, the murder capital of the world, started buying Bitcoin. Bukele came in, locked a whole lot of people up. It is one of the safest countries in the world. Things are changing slowly, then suddenly. It doesn't all get better overnight. They didn't just fix everything, and they still do use US dollars. However, being on a Bitcoin standard, from the outside looking in, and from all the Bitcoiners that go over there to El Salvador as a Bitcoin mecca, all the reports is this country has really turned itself around. It has gotten better. And this gives light, this gives hope. When whether it's a country or an individual or a corporation aligns themselves with Bitcoin, things dramatically get better. And it happens very quick. When they start buying, 2022. Now, they own 5,747, 747. Reminds me of Boeing and all the shenanigans going on there, which is a product or a byproduct of the fiat economy. But anyway, on a Bitcoin standard, 5,747.76 Bitcoin, they're adding one a day up and to the right. They understand scarcity, property rights, freedom technology. And for civilizations to advance, private property rights are essential. Here in the West, they're trying to take those away. Slowly, slowly, slowly. They take away cash. They bring in digital IDs. Then they bring in CBDCs. And then they bring in capital controls. Well, we've nearly got all of those already here in Australia. It's coming everywhere around the world. They do all these things. And then you're not allowed free speech on the internet. I saw this ad that people under the age of 14 shouldn't be allowed to use social media. Like, hang on a moment, like that should be up to the parents in good parenting to choose whether their child does or does not engage. My personal belief is it's not good for a child of 14, but this should not be dictated from the government. This is a nanny country. But what happens to people taking 100% self-responsibility for themselves, for their offspring? When we no longer give people the choice, they feel disempowered, hopeless. And like Elon Musk, you know, he's reminding everyone how the Federal Reserve works. It's all monopoly money. It's just fiat garbage. Like, it's not worth the money it's printed on. Over and over around the world, as they debase currencies, as they lock people up for speaking the truth, people lose the will to live. And when they're disempowered, they just let all these dystopian things come in more and more and more. And that's how we get to a very nihilistic society. Whereas, like us, everyone here, however long you've been Bitcoin, like if today's day one, like welcome, this is the most exciting journey of your entire life. All you need to do is just buy, stack and chill and just read as many books, watch as many podcasts, consume all the Bitcoin information, because when you realize like fix the money, fix the world, Bitcoin does fix this, gives you self-responsibility, freedom, technology. When all of these things come into a line, life instantly gets better. And then when it gets better for you, you can share that hope with someone else. They've now got hope. They share that hope. And that's how we fight back against the tyranny. And it's peaceful. There's no wars, no munitions. It's just beating them at their own game or just changing the game. Instead of going along with their corrupt game, we want a game where the rules are very clear that the world has chosen to participate in. Now, this is funny, a little bit of fun, and then we'll dive into the comments section. GameStop was held multiple times amid a huge surge on Monday, drawing laughter from crypto fans. It did look like Tate there put $1 million. First I saw like $500,000 and then $1 million. Said he's never going to sell it. Anyway, GameStop absolutely pumped. About $1 billion in shorts, I think, got liquidated, and reminds me of 2020. Crypto goes 24/7 without any circuit breakers, unlike the stock market. GameStop is yet again the stock of the day. Sorry, Monday, due to support from traders gripped by meme stock fever. It was a stilted rally, halted repeated by the US stock market's famous or infamous, depending on one's perspective, system of circuit breakers designed to prevent prices from getting out of control. There is no free market in the stock market. Bitcoin is truly the only free market in the world, 24/7, 365, TikTok, next block. It has crypto enthusiasts absolutely laughing. This is the crypto bros, and yes, it's Bitcoin only, not crypto, but it's a whole lot of fun, and it just goes to show, like, they're already talking about making the stock market trade 24 hours a day, which would be very interesting, but they've still got the circuit breakers. It's still a controlled system. If things have no value, let them go to zero, let them crash and burn, not just stop it out. Or if they want to go to the moon, let it go to the moon, but another nanny state on the world stage. Anyway, that's the Bitcoin news with the fast facts. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. We're going to dive into the comment section now. Shout out to all the legends in the chat. Hopefully you've enjoyed those podcasts over the last 2 weeks. My apologies with the breathing sounds on the first 4. It was such a letdown. I know the message, the signal was good. It was a little bit of a distraction. Audio sound design is not my specialty. The Michael Dunworth one that dropped yesterday, if you haven't already checked it out, check it out. That was a rabbit hole and a half. Really good video, under videos or podcasts. We'll dive into the comments in 2 secs. But thanks for putting up with that, and we will go back to regular programming as well now, but we're going to dive into the comments, which is Monday to Friday, 5:35 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And that Michael Dunworth video, pretty sure I got the breathing sorted. The audio is still a little bit funny as the first time I set that up. So they sort of all had that problem, unfortunately. But shout out to everyone that is here. Simon Bacala, it is good to see you. Brother Johnny Midas, good to see you. Nice to see you back at the home office. It's a pleasure to be back in the lab again. Michael, they are also taxing us more when we want to leave Trudeau dystopia, 100%. They are. It's like, why do we pay taxes? Seriously, if they're just going to print the amount of money, like whatever they want, and the taxes are not bringing in enough money, Australia's going to balance the budget. Like, yeah, right, maybe they do it for a quarter. Maybe I can't see them, but maybe they do it for a year, and then what? Like, they haven't balanced in 16 years. Wow. One in the black. and then they go back into the red. Like, who knows? It's over time. We don't know when it's all going to come crashing down. By design, it needs to. Like, it was built from nothing. It's going to go back to nothing. Anyway, in the meantime, just be stacking as much as possible and staying aware of what's going on. If capital controls, if they are locking you down into your country, maybe, like, I love Australia. We're looking for a citadel. We'll find a place that's very isolated and removed, but you are still subject to the law, and you need to choose whether you're willing to or not. Good thing if you don't sell Bitcoin, there is no capital gains tax, so they are incentivizing you to hold it, which I think is good. But Jake, g'day from Flyover USA, mate. PJ Canada was saying Canadians have no money left to buy Bitcoin. Hopefully that's because you've gone all in. Otherwise, yeah, I get it. Like, the cost of living is so high. If it's only 10% that you can save, or even if you're saving 10% of that, put it into Bitcoin, whatever it is, just do what you can, even if it's only a tiny bit. Even if it's only 1,576 Satoshis for $1. I truly understand. It's pretty hard out there for a lot of people. It's only going to get worse. Jake Thomas, any thoughts on 5.3 crypto theory? No idea. I'll need to look into it. Please issue an alert next time you show Lagarde dude chick. It's full on, hey? It's just what they come out with. It's just so sinister. Just about lost my dinner. I just ate. Jake, I apologize, Elaine. It is good to see you live. McLovin, g'day, legends. Crypto Rico Reptilian confirmed. Diamond knows all that stuff. He's confessing he's truly a criminal. Yeah, and Jamie Demon, Epstein's banker funding Bitcoin. Daniel Webb, what happens to the crypto projects I used to talk about? I no longer talk about it. That was many years ago. I've gone over this many times, Daniel, on the channel. Got into crypto at the start of my Bitcoin journey, like a lot of people do. Got caught up in the narrative, the mind virus, and it's like the furthest thing that I could ever think about now. It's Bitcoin only. It's all just narrative driven. It's all just a scam. And unfortunately for me, it took a little while to wake up to that fact. But when you do and you see it clearly, like if you're new to Bitcoin and you start hearing about crypto, like my advice or recommendation is just don't waste your time. It's total mind virus and it really takes you out of aligning with truth. But g'day, Daniel. JP Morgan, I believe, has been fined by the government the most of all bankers. Habib, good to see you. Dave, good to see you too. Jake, and the fine is usually a slap on the wrist in comparison to their racket. The banks, I did have a slide I was looking at. I'll try repost it at Sean Clark 911 for everyone. But the amount that these bankers have been fined, and then they just carry on because they're incentivized to do whatever they want and just pay the fine. Like, it's minuscule. If they get caught, they could get caught on every single occasion. They'd still be in profits, which is absolutely sad. It's sickening. And that's why we can opt out to something where the rules are the rules. And you can either choose to participate because you like the rules and it's fair for everyone and no individual can change the rules, or you can go into fiat, or you can go into crypto where they just change things. Like, there's a whole lot going on with ETH at the moment where it's turned inflationary again, and they just change things all the time. They come up with these real weird names. It's Bitcoin's aligned with truth. Everything else is a total psyop, whether that's crypto or fiat. Thanks for reminding me. I just bought Parallel. Absolutely awesome. Enjoy the book, Elaine, and let us know how you go. It was one of the most enjoyable Bitcoin books I've read, and I've read a lot of Bitcoin books, so I'd love your feedback. High cooling. Get your Stark 9 while you can. So it's a node software. Be your own bank. We've got a node video coming coming soon. Super easy to set up, run, build. But get one. Run a node while you still can. Truly, it's the most important thing you could do to help support Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to look after you over a long enough time frame. Look after Bitcoin, run a node. Holden Wood, they'll probably try to sell the Great Barrier Reef to the Chinese to make up some budget deficit. It wouldn't surprise me. Do something, do anything. Good morning, Australia. Hit the like button. Holden Wood, is the reef still there? Sort of like what we were saying. A lot of bleaching where I was going on. We had a lot of lines in the sky over summer. Are they connected? I don't know. It was pretty interesting, the stuff that would wash up after they'd do whatever they were doing up there with their geoengineering. So it's not quite flat today, but the next really flat day, I'll go around to the eastern sides of the island, see if the nice areas are still there or we have had more major die-off. But there is a lot of die-off going on. I don't know if it's related or correlated or not, but we'll see. Blue team wants to crash the system. Blue team, red team, they all want to crash the system. That's why we need to jump onto team orange and just get out. It's failing. It's failing pretty quick. Shout out to everyone that is watching live. Elaine McLovin, we're like twin Bitcoiners flying around YouTube. That is true. Elaine and McLovin, I do see you everywhere. These are people that are dedicated to understanding Bitcoin, getting information out there. Always appreciate everyone in the chat. It's this Bitcoin rabbit hole. Like, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And the more you know, the more you understand that you don't know. And you're like, all right, like, what rabbit hole do we want to go down? Like, all these videos that I dropped, like, we're diving into Bitcoin trust funds. I had Peter Dunworth on there diving into CBDC's total annihilation, being on the brink of nuclear war. Michael Dunworth as well. Like, we went into everything. He did 21 million steps over the last 4 years, the last cycle, and dive into fluoride and what this market could do, 250K to a super cycle. Every conversation I have with the Bitcoiners is so diverse and so different, and you're like, wow, like, this is so fascinating. It takes you everywhere. So I totally understand Elaine McLovin being everywhere. Crashing the system will put all the cards in their hands, well, for 99% of the people, 100%. And that's why they're going to continue to do it. They're going to be pretty well off. Those closest to the money printer win, obviously, like Holden's saying, the 1%, that 1% are the Bitcoiners. Ladies and gentlemen, that is you. Well done. Pat on the back for choosing truth, for freedom, and for winning. Now, Jake Thomas, I think B-Boy, you're saying BitBoy, how's he doing, Ben? Hopefully he's all sorted and he's just back to himself and moving away from the altcoins. It's funny. I don't have a problem with anyone getting into crypto when they don't know any better, but when they do know better, and people like BitBoy, and then they never learn, they never change tune, and they keep, like, at the start, they probably get in there because they see the number go up, and then you realize it's all fake. Like, once you realize it's all fake, if you don't stop participating in that system, like, I think you're as bad as JP Morgan or Christine Lagarde or any of these evil people, entities. So, BitBoy, it's even hard to read that anyway. Said today, if the blue team introduced CBDCs, we'd say no way, but if the red team told us it was the only way to fight the BRICS, we would. Yeah, interesting point, like this red versus blue, left versus right. Like, there's one party and then there's you. But whatever way they can do it, and if they can't bring it out, like, while they're in government, then they'll just wait till the next government comes out. It's not from the people that we quote unquote elect. Like, we're given this choice. We're given this, what would be the right word? Like, given the illusion of choice on who we can elect. and then we elect them, and then they do the things that they said they wouldn't do. Anyway, I'll never touch the superannuation of the Australian public. And then, we're looking at using your super for military spending. Like what? You just said you wouldn't. But time's on their side in whatever way they can. Like, this agenda's been going on for a very long time. Obviously, it is ramping up now. People in the EU, I believe, are being prepared, programmed for a cybersecurity attack. We've seen a few this year already. World Economic Forum did do some battle testing for cybersecurity attacks worldwide through their Davos meeting. Was it Davos or a couple of months before? And they did the same thing before the pandemic as well. So I think more and more are going to happen this year. And people have been warned by it because they need to for whatever reason. And maybe it doesn't happen. But cybersecurity attack, imagine if the internet goes down for 2 or 3 days. Pretty bloody interesting. Will it be isolated? Will it be worldwide? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't happen. But I do think something is going to happen. Bitcoin will win long term, 100%. We will build it and they will have no choice but to come 100%. High calling, you're saying hopefully. I guess nothing's guaranteed in life, but like the Bitcoin parallel economy, it's already here for many people, and more people are dipping their toes in, like half in, half out. And then some people are just hearing about it. But it's just an information exercise, isn't it? Like, for everyone here, like, just think, like, it didn't take really long. Like, Bitcoin sort of grasps the imagination. And then when you start diving down the rabbit holes and understanding, like, the foundation that it's built on, rules without rulers, don't trust, verify, number go up, scarcity, technology, private property rights for 8 billion people worldwide. It's permissionless money. When people start to understand all those things, they just see that it's a better idea. So slowly, then suddenly. So I don't think it's personally, I don't think it's a hopefully, but I guess there's still a possibility that something happens that no longer, as Jeff Booth says, stays decentralized and secure. Failing that, I think it's inevitable. But yeah, high calling. I sort of agree. Nothing's baked in until it's baked in. Yeah, but I would also challenge that and say for anyone on a Bitcoin standard or only on a Bitcoin and been saving a Bitcoin for a while, Bitcoin's already won in their lives. People naturally transition to a better systems. It's happened many times throughout history, 100%. People go to the hardest form of money. There's never been a harder form of money than Bitcoin currently, which is pretty exciting. It's only 15 years old and it's designed to run forever. They're already doing that too, to a lesser degree. Can anything be more obvious? We want to change the atmosphere to stop changing the atmosphere. I've been documenting this proposal since 2012. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Why not just let nature be nature? Maybe cut out some of the pollutants like glyphosate on the cane crops, and then we have a big flood and that all gets washed out into the reef. 100% stop that. Anything that's toxic to the environment or to humans, like fluoride in the water, stop it. But to go out and then to geoengineer, I think that's a little bit too far. We are not God. God, to me, is the great outdoors. Let the great outdoors play God. It's probably got a better idea. If we try stuff with it too much and push one way, it's going to push the other way. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. But yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And follow DS Batten, Daniel Batten on X as well. He does dive into it quite a lot. It's like we're dealing with the most sinister group of morons that have ever been collected as a group and on all levels. Humans meddling with nature, what could go wrong? 100%. Hopefully I'm dead before any of this crazy stuff happens. I'd also challenge you again, high calling, and say it is already happening, unfortunately, and we can opt out and just take away the power that they have. And 1% of the population opt out, buy Bitcoin. Not going to change too much. It will in their individual lives. But as more and more, and that goes from 1% to 3% to 5%, it doesn't take much for a revolt, for a revolution, and for things just to change. It's like the 100 monkey effect. Once 100 monkeys on one island can do it, I believe every monkey on every island can do it. Pretty amazing how humanity and the collective consciousness upgrades as we figure things out. But yeah, I'd say it's already here, and we need to move away from giving that system power. Are you ready for what awaits you after you die? Staring at cell phones worked out well for the chem trailers. I'm not sure what you mean there. Like, it either keeps us distracted looking at our phone instead of looking up at the sky, or people are looking on X and they're seeing that they're spraying, and then they look up and they're like, oh yes, that looks like that. They're actually doing it, and it didn't. Not sure which way to read that, Elaine. Hi, Colin, you jinxed yourself. Now you're going to live a very long time. Absolutely. Mr. Android, good to see you. Bill Gates, a singular and ready to mingle. Hard to believe, I know. Please keep spelling Clownada wrong. Please keep spelling Clownada wrong. Oliver Dixon, Clownada. Never heard it before. And who are you referring to? Please keep spelling. Did I spell Canada wrong? Canada. Oh, I get it. All right. I spelt it. I'm with you. Sorry, not so sharp this morning. Don't we outnumber the evil, tyrannical so-called elitists? Yet they run things. 100% they do, because we're bought into the lie that we should pay them any respect and listen to their rules. And they've put all these systems in place, all these laws over many, many years. Hey, Luna, want to say hello? A cute little baby came in. I'll see if she comes over. Hello. This is Luna Berry. We're away for 2 weeks. She's so excited that we came back. Hello, little baby. All right, I'm with you on the Clownada. They want to control everything, our children, your livelihoods, relationships, speech, freedom. We can stop them. Bitcoin makes it possible. Crypto is a dirty word, never to be said, repeat, or acknowledged. It is a slur, profanity. Bitcoin only 100%. These people are beyond crazy. The tax is just keeping us poor and dependent. Thanks, Sean. Regular program is great when you're rested and can talk above the whisper. 100%. It was a little bit hectic over the place. The second time setting up that setup, a whole lot of technical issues, spent ages, and probably would have been better just not to live stream in a couple of days. Or there's one day where I got 2 hours of sleep, and the next day I got none, and then I went live, and it was a strain. Anyway, we got through it. Tried to do my best to get a video out every day while I was away. But back to it, and I'll get some sun, some steak, and clear this up. I'm fired up today, 100%. Elaine knows too. Smash the buy button. Bitcoin is different than any other rabbit hole. It gives us hope guaranteed. Never forget the greatest country in the world raised their debt ceiling 70 times over since 1967. Just going to race through a couple now. Into the forest, good to see you. I'm buzzing around the house listening. Oh man, it was so good to be in the forest. It was absolutely incredible. Every time I see your name, I'm like, I need to get into the forest, and then to spend a whole lot of days in deep rainforest, these giant tree ferns, absolutely incredible. Go out, touch some grass, and get some sunlight, steak, sex, sand, whatever it is, some trees. Touch some big wood. These giant trees. Don't take it dirty, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing better. Be a tree hugger, and be a happy hippie, and look after the planet. Take memories, and don't leave anything. Remember, money is just a representation of our personal effort. The energy, time we have invested and can never reclaim. Luna, they love you. Great point, aligning ourselves with truth. You reap what you sow. The truth will set you free. As bro, appreciate your McLovin. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate your hard work and dedication. Well, that is the news with the fast facts. Do us one favor, smash the like button, and if you can share it, greatly appreciated. Check out that Michael Dunworth video if you haven't already. It was pretty dope. The guy's insane. Like the rabbit holes that he goes down. He created, was it Wired or Wire Exchange? WYRE. Luna Barry, hey. She's like rubbing and scratching. She's just going crazy. She wants me to take her out to the B. I won't say BEACH. I won't say that word because she'll go nuts. But yeah, check out that video. Insane. It was like a $500 million exchange. Really interesting guy. So I'd urge everyone to check that out. But we'll see you tomorrow. Back to regular program. It's good to be back in the lab. Leave a comment and have a very beautiful day. Do something nice for yourself, someone else. Be blessed. Peace.